involving this matter?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to review a series of videos that were taken by Mr. Ramsay in this matter?
I did.
Did you have an opportunity to read a notebook created by Mr. Ramsay?
I did.
The videos that I've just referenced were approximately 8 or 9 videos that you saw.
I don't recall specifically.
Can you tell us what they depicted?
Yes. Some of the things that they depicted were the victim undressed, him having her hand masturbate him. Those are what stand out the most.
All right. You're aware that this case involves the murder of a 98-year-old woman while she was asleep on her couch in her house in Wadsworth in April of 2018. You're aware of that, correct?
Yes.
Woman by the name of Margaret Douglas.
Yes.
And you're also aware that Mr. Ramsay entered her home in the early morning hours of April the 6th, videoed her with his phone at various stages throughout, hid behind a chair in the living room less than 5 feet away from her body while she slept, and videoed her. You're aware of that?
Yes.
And you're further aware that Mr. Ramsay brutally attacked Mrs. Douglas.
I'm going to object to the phrasing of that question.
Your Honor, the record speaks for itself. This is sentencing.
Overrule.
Yes.
Did you see the autopsy report?
I did.
Do you know where the maxillary bone is located?
I'm not sure.
If I told you that it was located in the face and jaw, does that help?
Yes.
Did the record established by the coroner's office and the medical examiner establish that her maxillary bone was broken?
I don't remember the details.
Do you remember a video of the victim lying on a couch with a plastic gloved hand around her throat while the video was being taken, or the picture was being taken?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember if that was a picture or a video, but I remember something like that, yes.
Do you remember subsequent videos and photographs where Mrs. Douglas was displayed on the floor on a blue carpet with her clothing torn off?
Yes.
Do you recall the video images of Mr. Ramsay's hand, gloved plastic gloved hand, I should say, using Mrs. Douglas's hand to masturbate himself after she was already dead, apparently? Do you recall the video of Mr. Ramsay's plastic gloved hand inserting his finger into her vagina?
SD, Gentlemannen och sådär. Skriver jag så här när det gäller...
You recall during your interview with Mr. Ramsay that he told you he doesn't remember why he used the jelly?
Yes, I recall that. Well, I think that was for lubrication.
I apologize, let me correct the record. He said he didn't know where he got it. Didn't remember where he got it, whether it was the refrigerator or it was just out there somewhere, but he used the jelly as a lubricant.
Vi ska sitta i paneldebatt om det här, så du får ju gärna bräcka ur dig.
I don't remember the part about where he found it.
Okay.
I recall that he said it was lubricated.
But there was reference to the jelly that was used as lubricant during this exchange.
Ja, men tack, men jag bor inte där.
Are you aware of the video where Mrs. Douglas is drug across the floor with her head in the closet and her legs spread, showing her anus and showing her vagina?
Yes.
Are you aware where Mrs. Douglas' body was found? Where?
possible.
Och SD...
Do you know any idea how big that closet was?
Men de har ju sina sub... Det är ju nazister.
If I told you it was 1.5 feet deep, 2.5 feet wide, would that be about correct from your observation?
Nej, så skrev jag
Did
bara så
Mr.
här,
Ramsay tell you how he
jag tror
prepared
tyvärr
that
inte att
closet?
du fattar vad jag skriver och du verkar... Så frågade jag, har du någon utbildning överhuvudtaget? Han bara... Så skrev han, vad
Didn't he
betyder
tell you he pulled the
högskola?
clothing
Vad
out,
betyder-
put the body in?
Svara på, så skrev jag,
Answer the first question.
har du några betyg inom skola överhuvudtaget?
I would try.
Give the
Jag är av-
witness an opportunity.
Jag är... Han hade någon så här, någon sorts kungaätt. Då skrev jag,
Han behöver inte jobba.
då skrev nej, just
I don't recall him telling me exactly why he did that.
I'm not asking why he did it, I'm
Or
just
when,
asking.
or how.
Okay, very good, thank you.
det. Då började jag fatta på det. Så jag
But
skrev, nej,
are you aware from the reports then
IQ och något sånt där, så jag pratar inte med människor som inte...
how the body was placed in the closet or in what physical position?
Sen har jag upp den och så skrev jag,
And what was that?
försökte sammanfatta för
Facing the way you
det var inte
described
så
the
många
cover
dagar sedan jag
with
blev
a lot
frågad
of
om det.
clothes and
Han från Egypten fattade
coats,
inte ens
shoes,
det.
things like that.
Vacuum cleaner? You
Jag
recall
sa,
that?
jag ta med mig det här.
Don't recall the vacuum cleaner, but the
Jag vill
clothing.
bara visa det här.
Door shut or
Om
open?
jag
Do you
ser
recall?
det här
I don't remember that.
så förstår de inte ens sin egen historia. Om jag
Are you aware, based on your review of the report, how long Mr. Ramsay, that we can document by those videos, was in this home?
Men jag sa, jag är högutbildad.
If I told you that the videos documented that he was in the house for no less than 2 hours and 1 minute,
Jaha, men jag
Would that sound correct?
mitt viktigaste jobb, jag är assistent.
Right, 2:09 a.m. for 10 a.m.
Den här typen av människor,
now in your interview of Mr. Ramsay,
de har jagat
did he ever allude to you why he left the house when he did?
Det är det som jag ska ha.
Yes,
And what was
Det
that?
blir så mycket lättare för mig.
his parents were about to be up for the day.
A few days this happened. And it's just some...
This wasn't the only episode of some level of sexual deviancy that Mr. Ramsay perpetrated on individuals, is it?
Jag tror det.
From what he told me, it
Jag
was
behöver
not.
prata lite.
Can you explain that, please?
Till orden.
He informed me that he had begun
Ja, jag gissar.
meeting up with men that he met through a dating app for the purposes of either and or sex or robbing them.
As a matter of fact, he admitted to you that he had done that repeatedly. Correct?
Correct.
And he also admitted to you that at least on one occasion he had assaulted one of the individuals to get him out of the car.
He told me that he did kick someone.
And he also indicated that he would routinely take the car
Är hon på?
to get away.
He did
Bless you.
mention taking the individual's car, yes.
Now, Dr. Jones, is it fair to assume, in your training and experience,
Excuse me, go ahead.
thank you, Your Honor, is it fair to assume in your training and experience that the conduct that Mr. Ramsay displayed against Ms. Douglas and the conduct that was displayed against these anonymous men
Så skrev jag bara.
had a similar motivation?
Så
They appear to have some commonalities.
to my face så får jag alla
This wasn't the only criminal activity that Mr. Ramsay was involved in, was it?
No.
vet han har sagt.
As a matter of fact,
Ända ner till att prata.
I'm sorry.
that's fine, Your Honor.
Då blir det ju så.
As a matter of fact, at the time when Mr. Ramsay was identified as a suspect in this case, he was being investigated for a carjacking. You recall that from the police records?
I believe. Yes. Yes.
I'm going to go back now to that notebook that I'd mentioned, that you read. Your Honor, I'd like to read an excerpt from that, but it has profane language.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Before we with you, you got the notebook from prosecutor.
I have my notes on it. Now, Dr. Jones, again, for the record, the excerpt that I'm going to read for you, and I'm going to ask you if you've recognized it, it has profane language. I'll apologize in advance. I just want to fucking go off on someone and beat them until they're not breathing anymore. I honestly want to take someone's life. I want to know what it would feel like to stand over someone's dead body. You recall seeing that quote?
I don't believe I have it outlined exactly the same, but yes, that sounds.
When you reviewed the notebook of Gavon Ramsay, dated January 19th, was that an excerpt from, or was that a quote that he had written in that book?
Yes, maybe not all in one sentence, but yes.
Now, based on your review of the medical records, that was 12 days, at least 12 days before he was prescribed, Zoloft. Right? Is that correct?
Trying to see, so he started the Zoloft on January 30th?
Didn't he start it on January 31st? Got the prescription.
Possibly. So, and January 19th would be.
Once again, I'm relying on my math.
At least a week before that.
Now, during the course of your review, was it ascertained whether or not Mr. Ramsay removed anything from Ms. Douglas's home?
Yes.
Do you recall what that was?
Remember a wallet?
A red wallet? Does that sound familiar?
Maybe it was red. I remember a wallet.
You remember him telling you there was approximately $40 in it?
Yes.
You remember him telling you where he found that wallet?
In her home somewhere.
Så kolla vad jag har för pengar först och främst.
I don't know specifically where.
Vad sa du? Jag vet inte.
Was Mr. Ramsay able to describe for you the details that we've just gone over during your interview with him?
No, not all of those.
He left some out.
Jag skulle kunna betala räkningar idag.
Yes.
I så fall skulle jag kunna betala räkningar idag.
Did he describe to you his feelings after the murder?
Yes.
What did he describe his feelings?
Said he was
Nu
feeling
hinner
normal.
jag föra över till dig.
about the incident very much.
Do you know of any time when that changed?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you have an opportunity to discuss with him the issue of whether or not,
Ska jag ta 650
when you evaluated him,
naglar?
was he remorseful?
Jag får inte betala mina naglar i alla fall.
Ja, visst. Ja.
That would have been November the
Så
13th.
är det det här.
Ja,
Det är sagt det. Det är anledningen till att jag jobbade.
jo jag vet.
He said that he
Jag har
was.
börjat jobba. Vi har,
Ja,
What were
ja,
his
jag
words?
Jag får ju säkert jättebra lön i februari.
vi har bra mycket mer än vad vi trodde inte ens att du skulle ha ett jobb.
Nej, jag vet inte så här
He said
fort.
that
Och sen att jag började jobba den 2
I asked him how he
januari.
felt about
Det
what
är
had
liksom
happened, and he
perfekt.
said he
Det
was
var då
doing
alla andra
bad,
också började jobba.
and he wanted nothing to do with himself.
Precis.
Och så jag är så glad att den dagen blev
But that
bara in.
he's changed a lot for the better, he's going to prepare for his future, etc.
Ja, och sen
So
har
effectively,
vi-
he was talking to you about his future, about getting an education while he's in prison. Didn't he say that?
Jag har bara 31
So he's gonna go as far as he could.
Ja,